The galaxy was usually calm at this hour. Stars burned quietly. Space stations drifted in silence. But inside the Great Listening Tower, a giant observation post used by more than 30 alien civilizations, something unusual happened. A loud alarm echoed through the hall. Red lights flashed across the control screens. Technicians from different species looked at each other with wide, shocked eyes. Something was wrong. Something impossible. The lead watcher, a tall creature named Varek, stared at the main display. His long silver fingers trembled as he tried to understand the incoming data. "It cannot be real," Varek whispered. Yet the signal kept growing stronger. It came from a small blue planet on the outer edge of a quiet star system. A world that had always been marked as unimportant, primitive, and safe to ignore. The planet's name was Earth. For thousands of years, alien civilizations believed Earth had simple life. Animals, plants, and nothing else. No advanced culture. No space travel. No threat. It was a world they watched only once every few centuries, then forgot again. But tonight, Earth roared awake. A structured energy pulse shot out into space. Not once, not twice, but in a repeating pattern, almost like a heartbeat. It was strong, controlled, and full of purpose. Something intelligent had created it. Varek's assistant, Lyra, ran her glowing hands across the panel. "I checked the readings 10 times, she said. "It is real. The source is Earth." Another watcher stepped forward, his heavy steps shaking the metal floor. "But Earth has no such power," he growled. Their last recorded level was barely early industrial. They should not have anything beyond basic machines. Varek slowly exhaled. "Then how," he asked, "did they send a signal strong enough to reach half the galaxy?" The room fell silent, except for the constant beep of the rising energy wave. The signal grew sharper, more defined. Not noise. Not random motion. It was a message. But a message in a form no alien civilization had ever seen. The Council was alerted. Soon, holographic forms of leaders from many worlds appeared above the center table. Tall, short, scaled, feathered. Beings of every shape floated like ghostly statues, each one wearing an expression of confusion or fear. Varek began the briefing. At 0329 tower time, a high-density energy pattern emerged from the planet called Earth. It broke through 3 monitoring layers and triggered alarms in over 20 star sectors. He pointed toward the spinning blue sphere on the display. This world was not supposed to be capable of such action. He paused. And yet, here we are. A deep-voiced council leader spoke first. "Has Earth contacted us before?" "No," Varek replied. "Never." "Has Earth ever shown signs of advanced development?" "None." Their progress was slow, quiet, unimportant. Another leader leaned forward. "Then what in the stars changed today?" Nobody had an answer. The signal suddenly shifted again. A second pulse raced through space. This one was stronger, so strong that several screens flickered and dimmed. "This level of power," Lyra said softly, "should not come from a young world." One representative whispered a dangerous thought. "Perhaps Earth is not young. Perhaps we were blind." Some nodded in agreement. Others hissed at the suggestion. But the numbers on the screen did not lie. Earth was doing something impossible. A sharp alarm rang again. Lyra gasped. "More readings. Something is rising from the planet's atmosphere." Everyone watched as a small object lifted into space. It traveled fast. Much faster than anything Earth should have been able to build. "Is it a ship?" Varek asked. "No," Lyra said. "It looks like a probe. An observation unit." The council became restless. "Send one of our own drones," a leader commanded. "We must observe them more closely." A sleek alien drone shot out from the listening tower. It crossed the empty dark space between the station and Earth. Everything seemed normal. Then, suddenly, the drone vanished. No explosion. No fire. No debris. It just disappeared, erased from existence. Shock spread through the hall like ice water. What was that?" Lyra choked out. Varek's voice shook. The drone did not malfunction. Something destroyed it. How? The council leader demanded. Varric turned slowly toward them. There is only one explanation, though it sounds impossible. He pointed again at Earth. That planet is protected by a hidden defense grid. Something powerful enough to erase our drone without delay. A cold silence filled the room. Leaders looked at one another, unsure, frightened. A primitive world should not have such defense. A silent world should not be this powerful. Someone whispered the words everyone was thinking. Who are the humans, really? Outside the tower, unknown to all watching eyes, the Earth-made probe stopped its climb. Its sensors adjusted, and its black surface glowed with a faint red light. Then it turned. It pointed directly at the listening tower. And for the first time in history, Earth scanned them back. The Great Listening Tower had faced many strange events in its long history, but nothing compared to what happened after Earth's probe scanned them. Every watcher in the hall stood frozen, their hearts beating faster than the station's humming machines. The probe's red light slowly faded, but the fear it left behind stayed heavy in the air. Varric stared at the last image captured before the alien drone vanished. A faint shimmer, barely visible, had wrapped around Earth like a second skin. It was thin, almost transparent, but powerful enough to erase anything that crossed it. A cloaked defense grid. Something only high-level galactic powers could build. Something Earth should not have. Yet clearly did. Lyra's hands shook as she worked the controls. "I'm trying to scan the shield again," she murmured. "But every time I focus on it, the readings break." On the screen, data flashed wildly, then scrambled into nonsense. "It is blocking our scans deliberately," Lyra said. The council leaders shifted uneasily in their holographic forms. "A young world cannot do this," one leader growled. Varric nodded slowly. "Unless it is not young anymore." No one liked hearing that. The council leader of the Korean Empire lifted her long, crystal-like arm. "We must test the shield," she said firmly. "We cannot make a decision until we know its strength." A second drone, bigger, faster, heavily shielded, was prepared. This one contained multiple layers of armor and emergency escape protocols. It was built to survive almost anything. Almost. "Launch," Varric ordered. The drone shot into space like a silver spear. It crossed several sectors in seconds and moved into Earth's orbit, cameras active, sensors ready. For a moment, everything seemed calm. Then, the screen turned white. Not black. Not static. White. A perfect, blinding white. Lyra shielded her eyes. "What is happening?" Varric leaned closer, confused. I don't know." The white slowly faded, and the drone was gone. Completely gone. This time, the destruction was even faster than before. No trace, no signal, no escape pod. The council chamber erupted in chaos. It erased a military drone. Impossible! What kind of species hide such power? "We must contact them now." Varric raised both hands. "Silence!" Everyone stopped shouting. He spoke in a low, serious voice. "We must not rush. We do not know Earth's intentions. We do not know if they are hostile or simply protecting themselves." Another leader spoke softly. "If they can destroy our technology so easily, imagine what else they can do." Lyra's screen beeped again. Her face turned pale. "Something new," she whispered. "A signal from Earth." Everyone stared at her. "What kind of signal?" "It is not an attack," Lyra said. "It is a scan. A soft scan." She swallowed nervously. "They are studying us, reading us, watching our systems. But they are not harming anything." A cold realization passed through the room. Earth knew they were afraid. Earth knew they were blind. Earth knew they were unprepared. The silent planet was silent no more. One of the council leaders, older and wiser than most, spoke slowly. "For all these years, we believed Earth was behind us in development. We thought of them as a peaceful, young world, harmless. But a species that hides a shield like this cannot be simple." A different leader asked, "Why hide their power?" No one had an answer. Then Varric remembered something. A rumor from the ancient archives. A warning. A legend. There is an old belief, Varek said. Some species grow fastest in danger. They become stronger the more challenges they face. If Earth is one of them, hiding would be their smartest move. They let us think they were primitive, so they could grow quietly. Lyra felt a chill run through her. What else could they be hiding? Before anyone could respond, a sharp alarm blared across the tower. A new object appeared on their long-range scanners. This time it was not a probe, not a drone. It was too large for either. The technicians zoomed in. A ship. A human ship. But unlike any ship the aliens had ever seen. It didn't use standard engines. Its movement was smooth, almost silent, like flowing light. How can it travel that fast? Someone whispered. It is heading toward us, Lyra said. Straight toward the listening tower. The council leaders panicked. Prepare defenses. Call the fleet. Shut down all communication lines. Varek shook his head. No, we must not attack. We don't know what this ship can do. He stared at the moving shape on the screen. It glowed with a strange energy pattern, not aggressive, not hostile, but confident, purposeful. As the ship approached, the shield around Earth shimmered again. It opened. Only for a moment. Just enough for the strange vessel to leave the planet safely. Then the shield closed again. Varek's breath trembled. They are not afraid of us, he said quietly. Not even a little. The room fell silent. Every leader, every watcher, every living being in the tower felt the weight of that truth. Whatever humans had become, whatever they had built in the shadows, they were ready to step into the galaxy on their own terms. The ship's signal flashed once. A simple message. A single line. We wish to speak with you. And then the ship kept coming. The human ship continued its slow approach toward the great listening tower. No weapons were visible. No threats were sent. Yet every alien inside the tower felt a pressure in their chest, a tight fear that would not go away. Varek wondered if this was the moment history would remember forever. The moment a forgotten planet stepped out of the dark. But just as the ship reached halfway, something unexpected happened. Every screen in the tower flickered. Strange symbols flashed. Symbols no one had seen in thousands of years. Then a hidden folder appeared on the main display. A file locked behind 10 layers of old security. A file no one had touched in ages. Lyra's voice trembled as she read the name on the folder. Record. Human observation. Year 14,027 archive time. Varek's eyes widened. That file is ancient. Older than most of our civilizations. The council leaders stared at the floating hologram, confused and uneasy. It cannot be opened, one leader said. It was sealed during the Great Archive War. But at that exact moment, the file unlocked on its own. Every watcher froze. It did not respond to their commands. It responded to the human ship. The screen filled with dusty images, broken audio, and forgotten reports. Then a voice, old, tired, and full of fear, spoke through the speakers. Report number 42, concerning early human development. The voice paused as if remembering something painful. This species must be watched. Their potential is dangerous. The room went silent. The recording continued. Humans grow faster under stress. They adapt quicker than predicted. They learn in ways we do not understand. What takes other species centuries, they achieve in decades. The watchers exchanged nervous glances. Another message appeared, this one written by a long-dead scientist. Humans do not follow expected evolutionary rules. Another message. Their creativity spikes under threats. Another. They survive conditions that should kill them. A final line, written in red. If humans ever reach the stars, the galaxy will change. The room filled with whispers. So the old ones knew about humans? They observed them thousands of years ago? Why did they hide this file? Lyra scrolled further. The more she read, the tighter her throat felt. The last entry is strange, she said. It warns not to interfere with Earth. It says contact must be avoided until humans choose to reveal themselves. Varek frowned. Why such a rule? They believed humans were dangerous. Not dangerous, Lyra whispered. Unpredictable. More images appeared. Ancient drawings. Primitive humans fighting storms, building shelters, surviving disasters that should have destroyed other young species. One clip showed a group of early humans standing together in heavy snow, protecting a child while their fire almost died. Another clip showed humans pushing through deserts, searching for water, refusing to give up. Another showed them carving symbols in stone, planning ahead, thinking beyond their time. Then the voice returned. Humans are unique. They change quickly. They unite in danger. They break limits. They rise again, stronger every time. A static buzz filled the audio. Then the final words echoed through the tower. If Earth ever hides, they are preparing for something. The file ended. The silence that followed was almost painful. Varric turned toward the council leaders. We judged them as weak, he said softly. We were wrong. The oldest leader, Grand Speaker Alvian, looked more shaken than any other. We believed humans advanced slowly, he said. But maybe they were only pretending. Maybe they hid their true progress so no one would fear them. Another leader added. Or maybe they hid because they feared something else. The thought chilled everyone. What could frighten a species capable of building invisible shields? What could force them into silence for thousands of years? Lyra checked the logs again. There is something else, she said. The file mentions a term. The dark event. It does not explain what it means. Varric rubbed his forehead. Perhaps humans saw something long ago. Something dangerous. Something they wanted to avoid. A quiet alarm beeped. The human ship was now very close. Close enough for the tower's external cameras to capture clear images. Close enough for everyone to feel the strange pressure around it. The ship's surface glowed softly, like breathing light. It's beautiful, Lyra whispered. Beautiful, Varric agreed, but also unsettling. The council leaders gathered in a circle. We must decide, Alvian said. Do we welcome them? Or do we prepare for conflict? One leader shook his head. If they wanted conflict, they would not come with a single ship. Another added, but if they are testing us, we must be cautious. Varric spoke last. We are dealing with a species older, smarter, and more prepared than we believed. They destroyed our drones without effort. They unlocked our oldest files. And now they come to speak. He turned toward the ship approaching their dock. We should listen. The room filled with nervous agreement. As the human ship slowed, its engines dimmed. A docking ramp extended like a silver pathway. Everyone in the tower held their breath. At last, after thousands of silent years, a human was coming to meet them. The docking doors of the great listening tower slid open with a slow metallic sigh. Everyone in the hall stood still. No one dared to breathe. No one dared to blink. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a human ship had arrived at their doorstep. Varric felt his heart beating hard inside his chest. He had studied hundreds of species, but never this one. Not the species hidden for thousands of years. Not the species with a shield that erased drones like dust. The ship rested gently in the docking bay. It didn't look powerful, yet something about it felt controlled, quiet, confident. As if the ship didn't need to show strength, it already knew its place. A glowing line ran down the side of the vessel. The line pulsed once, twice, 3 times. Then a soft sound, like a deep breath, escaped the ship. A door opened. A long ramp extended out, touching the metal floor of the bay. The entire tower held its breath. A single figure stepped out. A human. He was not armored. He carried no weapon. He wore a simple dark suit, smooth and clean, with a silver emblem on the chest, a symbol no alien recognized. His steps were steady. His posture was relaxed, but there was something else too. Something strong, almost unshakable. The air around him felt different. Heavier, but not unpleasant. He stopped at the end of the ramp and looked around slowly, as if memorizing every face, every detail. His eyes were sharp. Too sharp. Lyra felt her throat tighten. He feels like he sees everything, she whispered. Varric nodded slowly. He does. The human finally spoke. His voice was calm and steady. "Greetings. Thank you for receiving me." Every alien flinched. His words were perfect. Not simple translations. Not broken speech. Perfect, natural language, as if he had spoken it his entire life. The council leader, Alvian, floated forward in his shimmering hologram form. "We welcome you," Alvian said carefully. "We hope this meeting brings peace." The human gave a small nod. "Peace is exactly why I am here." There was something magnetic about the way he spoke. Not forceful, not loud, but every word carried weight. Alvian's voice softened. "May we ask your name?" The human looked at him for a moment, then answered. "You may call me Orion." Lyra blinked. "Orion? Is that your real name?" Orion smiled the faintest smile. "It is a name your systems can understand. The rest is not important today." The council exchanged uneasy glances. Varek stepped forward. "We have many questions," he said. "The energy pulses from Earth. The shield. The drones. The ancient archive file. We do not understand your world anymore." Orion's expression remained calm. "You will understand soon. I came to explain." He walked further into the hall, his suit glowing softly under the lights. As he approached the center platform, all eyes followed him. He stood with his hands behind his back, not aggressive, not defensive, simply confident. "The pulses you detected," he began, "were not an attack. They were not a call for war. They were a signal." Varek frowned. "A signal? For what purpose?" "A warning," Orion answered. The word echoed in the chamber like a stone dropped into deep water. "A warning to us?" Alvian asked. "Yes," Orion said. "But not only to you." He looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of every leader watching. "To the entire galaxy." A chill ran through the room. "What danger?" one council member asked. Orion raised a hand gently. "That is not today's discussion. Today is only the introduction." Varek felt a strange mix of fear and fascination. "Then, what do you wish to tell us?" he asked. Orion paused before speaking again. "Humanity has been silent for a reason. A very old reason. Long before your civilizations rose, long before your borders were drawn, Earth saw something." "Something?" Lyra repeated, confused. "Yes," Orion said. "A presence. A shadow. A force from far beyond this galaxy. Something your ancestors recorded in fragments, and then forgot." He stepped closer. For thousands of years, humanity has prepared for its return. The room exploded into whispers. "You prepared alone? You hid all this time? Why not warn us?" Orion lifted a hand, and the entire hall fell silent instantly. No command, no threat, just presence. "We hid because we were not ready to stand beside you," he said. "We hid because you were not ready to know us." Lyra swallowed. "But you came now." "Yes," Orion said. "Because the time for hiding is over." He touched a small device on his wrist. A hologram opened, showing Earth from above, the shield glowing like a second atmosphere. "This," he said, "was built not to threaten you, but to protect ourselves from something older than your oldest star map." The shield shimmered beautifully, almost like a living light. "Then why speak to us?" Varek asked softly. Orion looked him directly in the eyes. "Because what is coming cannot be faced by one world alone." The words filled the chamber with heavy silence. He continued, "Humanity wishes to join you. Not as rulers, not as enemies, as partners." Alvian's voice trembled. "You want an alliance?" "Yes," Orion said. "The first true alliance in galactic history." The council leaders stared at him, afraid, curious, hopeful, unsure. If humans were telling the truth, if something ancient was coming, maybe this meeting was not a threat. Maybe it was a beginning. Orion bowed his head slightly. "It is time for us to stand together." The hall remained silent, until Alvian finally spoke. "Let us hear everything," he said. Orion nodded. "And I will tell you everything. The future of the galaxy began at that moment. The council chamber chose a quiet place for the meeting, a neutral space far from any planet, floating alone in the cold darkness of the void. The structure was a massive station made of shining metal, shaped like a ring. It was built long ago for peace talks between old civilizations. But never in its history had it hosted a human. The station's outer lights glowed softly as Orion's ship approached. It moved with a gentle, smooth motion, almost like it was gliding on invisible water. No engine roar, no heat trails, no vibrations. Varek watched from the viewing platform, stunned. "The ship moves like it ignores gravity," he whispered. Lyra nodded. "It is elegant. Too elegant. It feels like it was built by someone who has no fear of space." Orion's ship slowed, then stopped perfectly in place. No drift. No correction. Just perfect stillness. A docking bridge extended from the station, connecting to the human vessel. Every alien nearby took a step back as the doors opened. Orion walked out again, alone, unguarded, calm, as if entering the most ordinary room in the universe. He was escorted to the center chamber of the peace station, a large round hall with tall windows showing the stars. The council leaders were already waiting there in their glowing hologram forms. Varek, Lyra, and several watchers stood behind them. Orion stepped into the light and offered a small nod. "Thank you for meeting me here." Alvian, the oldest council leader, spoke first. "This is a historic moment," he said, his voice echoing. "We hope for clarity today." Orion walked toward the central table, his step soft. "You will have clarity," he said. "I promise." He touched the surface of the table. A hologram shimmered into existence, an image of the galaxy, rotating slowly. The stars shone like tiny diamonds. "This is your map," Orion said. "The map all civilizations use." The leaders watched quietly. Orion raised his hand. Suddenly, the hologram expanded, stretching far beyond the edges of the known galaxy. New stars appeared. New regions. New darkness. The council froze. That area does not exist," one leader said. "It exists," Orion replied. "Your maps are simply incomplete." The hologram focused on a dark region far beyond the Milky Way. A region with no stars. A region with no light. A region that looked dead. "This is where the threat was first seen," Orion said softly. "Long before your civilizations were born. Humanity discovered this place more than 6,000 years ago." Varek frowned. How could humans see so far so long ago? They were primitive then. Orion's eyes darkened. "Primitive on the surface," he said, "but not blind." He tapped the hologram. A new image appeared. A story. A memory. A warning. It showed an ancient human structure. Massive. Carved deep into the mountains of Earth. Inside it, a device. Older than any human city. Older than any known civilization. A device watching the stars. Varek felt a chill run down his spine. Humans had deep space sensors. In ancient times? Orion nodded. Not by choice. By necessity. The hologram zoomed out, showing waves of darkness creeping toward the galaxy from the dead zone. "When this shadow first moved," Orion continued, "it consumed everything in its path. Stars vanished. Signals ended. Worlds died. Humanity saw it, but did not understand it." Lyra whispered, "Why didn't the other civilizations notice?" "They did," Orion said. "But their records are gone. Lost in wars. Lost in time. Forgotten." The galaxy image rotated again, showing the slow movement of the dark region. "It has been quiet for thousands of years," Orion said. "But 3 years ago, it moved again." The chamber fell silent. A cold fear filled the room. "And this," Orion said, "is why humanity revealed itself." Varek stepped closer. "How much time do we have?" Orion looked at the hologram for a long moment. "We do not know." Alvian asked, "Is this shadow an enemy?" Orion answered carefully, "It is not something we can speak to. Not something we can understand. It does not negotiate. It does not communicate. It only takes." The hologram flickered. Stars faded to black. Entire sectors vanished. The room trembled as the image collapsed into nothingness. "That is what humans have prepared for," Orion said. "That is why our shield exists. That is why we stayed silent, until now." Lyra swallowed hard. "You faced this alone all these years?" Orion turned to her. "No. We prepared. We studied. But we never intended to face it alone." His eyes softened slightly. "Now, we ask the galaxy to stand with us." Alvian floated forward. "You want unity," he said. "You want every world, every species, every fleet to join you." "Yes," Orion said. "This is a threat bigger than any war you have ever seen. If we do not unite now, we will not survive later." Varek spoke quietly. "And if we refuse?" Orion's answer was gentle, but carried a weight like a star collapsing. "Then the shadow will not care who refused or who accepted. It will take you all the same." The hall filled with a cold silence. Then Orion added, "But if we stand together, we can stop it." He looked up, his voice steady and strong. "This meeting is not about Earth joining the galaxy. It is about the galaxy surviving the future." The words echoed like thunder in the quiet chamber. The leaders exchanged long, tense looks. History held its breath. The decision had not been made yet, but the galaxy had already changed. The chamber inside the peace station felt colder than before. Even the light seemed dimmer, as if the station itself sensed the weight of Orion's words. The council leaders, usually confident and proud, now stood silent and tense. No one wanted to speak first. No one wanted to break the heavy air. Finally, Alvian, the oldest leader, turned toward Orion. His glowing form flickered slightly, showing his stress. "You said the first signal from Earth was a warning," Alvian said quietly. "We must understand what triggered it." Orion nodded. "Yes. That signal was no accident. It was activated for one reason. The shadow moved closer." He tapped the table again. The galaxy appeared once more, spinning quietly. A small red line pulsed from Earth, reaching out into the void. "This was the message," Orion said. "A coded alert sent across thousands of star systems." Varek stepped closer, his forehead tense. "But why did it look so strong? So powerful? It almost felt like a weapon." Orion turned to him. "Because it was meant to be heard by everything. Even the shadow." The room froze. "You sent a signal to the enemy?" a council leader shouted, his voice rising with fear. Orion answered calmly. "Yes." Lyra gasped. "Why? Why would you try to make contact with something that destroys entire sectors?" Orion clasped his hands behind his back. "To test something important. To see if it was awake, or still sleeping." The hologram zoomed into the dead zone again. This time, small red dots appeared, markers. Each dot represented a sensor placed by humanity in ancient times, long before most alien civilizations formed. Lyra whispered, "You placed sensors that far out? So long ago?" "Yes," Orion said. "They watched the darkness. They watched the edge of our galaxy." He paused. For centuries, nothing answered them. The council leaned in. And then, Alvian asked. Orion lifted his eyes. 3 years ago, one of those sensors stopped sending data. Completely. "That can happen," a leader said. "Old devices fail." Orion shook his head softly. "These sensors were built to fail loudly. They are designed to show warning signs for months before shutting down." He touched the hologram again. One red dot vanished completely. No blinking. No fading. Just gone. "Something erased it," Orion said. "Not damaged. Erased." A long, cold silence filled the chamber. "And then," Orion continued, "a second one vanished. Then a third. More red dots disappeared from the hologram. One by one. Like falling stars." Varek felt sweat forming on his hands. "How many?" he asked quietly. 27, Orion answered. Lyra felt her legs weaken. 27 sensors. Gone without warning? Yes. He pointed to the remaining dots. Only 7 still transmit anything. A council leader's voice trembled. What does that mean? Orion looked at them with steady eyes. It means the shadow is not only moving, it is speeding up. The temperature in the room felt like it dropped even lower. Alvian's voice cracked. And the signal you sent, did it reach the shadow? Orion nodded. It did. A wave of fear spread across the chamber. Did it respond? Varric asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Orion did not answer right away. He closed his eyes for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. It did not respond with communication, he said slowly. It responded with motion. He zoomed the hologram out. The dark region pulsed faintly, like a breathing monster. After the signal, the shadow changed direction. It began moving toward the galaxy's outer arm. Varric stepped back. Toward us, he whispered. Yes, Orion said. Alvian's hologram grew dim. So the signal was not just a warning to us, it was a message to it. Orion nodded. We wanted to know if it was alive. Now we know. The council chamber fell into total silence. Orion continued. Earth could not hide anymore. We had to reveal ourselves. We had to prepare the galaxy. Lyra looked up. So humanity didn't break its silence because of technology, or power, or pride. You acted because you were afraid. Orion turned toward her, his expression soft but grave. Yes, he said quietly. Humans felt fear. But fear did not break us. It pushed us. He pointed to the shield around Earth. That is the result of thousands of years of work. Thousands of years of watching the dark. Thousands of years of preparing for a moment like this. Varric studied Orion's face. But why didn't you warn us sooner? Why hide from the galaxy? Orion took a deep breath. Because we needed time. The hologram shifted again. This time it displayed Earth, no longer the simple blue world the galaxy thought it was. Huge ring structures circled the planet. Hidden stations glowed under the oceans. Energy networks wrapped the moon like a silver web. Lyra stared with wide eyes. You built all this, in secret? Yes, Orion said. We had no choice. He stepped forward, his voice calm but filled with purpose. If the galaxy had discovered our real progress too early, there would have been fear, wars, distrust. You may have tried to stop us. No, a council member protested. We wouldn't. Orion raised a hand gently. You don't understand. Humans do not rise slowly. We rise fast. Too fast. Other species have feared that before. His words were quiet, but heavy. We hid so the galaxy would not destroy us out of fear. The leaders exchanged long, guilty glances. Orion continued. And now we reveal ourselves because the galaxy cannot survive without unity. He closed the hologram. You need us. And we need you. The council hall trembled with the truth. The shadow was coming. And Earth was the only world that had seen it before. The council chamber felt heavier than ever. No one moved. No one even breathed loudly. The truth had finally settled like cold dust in the air. The shadow was coming. And Earth was the only world prepared to face it. Lyra looked at Orion, really looked at him, as if seeing him for the first time. Not as a representative from a quiet, ignored planet, but as someone carrying a burden far older and heavier than anyone could imagine. She stepped forward. Then what do we do now? She asked softly. Orion turned as the lights brightened slightly around him. He stood tall, calm, and certain. Now, he said, we choose if we face the darkness together or fall alone. Varric glanced at the other council leaders. Their faces shifted, fear turning into determination. But Alvian, the eldest, raised a hand. We still don't know, he said slowly, what the shadow truly is. We only know it consumes, moves, erases. Orion nodded. You are correct. You do not know. He paused. But humans do. The entire council froze again. Lyra whispered. So you've seen it up close? Orion's eyes dimmed for a moment. Yes. Tell us, Alvian demanded. What did you see? Orion hesitated, not because he was unsure, but because the truth itself was a weight few could carry. Finally he spoke. Long ago, when humanity was still young, before we even left our solar system, the shadow approached. Slowly, silently, he looked at the floor. It destroyed a human outpost far beyond Neptune. Thousands died in seconds. Lyra covered her mouth. Varric stepped back, stunned. And you stopped it? Varric asked. Orion shook his head gently. No, we survived it. But we did not stop it. Something changed. Something made it turn away. Alvian leaned forward. What changed? Orion raised his head and met his eyes. It sensed something. Something new. Something powerful. Something it had never encountered before. The council waited, breath held. What was it? Lyra asked. Orion answered with quiet intensity. Us. A shockwave of silence rolled across the room. We do not understand, Alvian said. Orion drew a deep breath. The shadow destroys civilizations with weak will, weak unity, weak resolve. But humans, even when we were fragile, divided, still growing, we fought with a fire it did not expect. He clenched his fist. Our survival, even our fear, made it turn away. The leaders stared in disbelief. You mean the shadow avoids resistance? Varric asked. No, Orion replied. It avoids unpredictability. Humanity acts in ways no pattern can predict. He stepped toward the center of the chamber. That is why we built our defenses. That is why we prepared in silence. That is why we came here now. The galaxy leaders finally understood. Earth wasn't only prepared. Earth was necessary. The room remained silent until Lyra slowly walked to Orion's side. I believe you, she said gently. And I stand with Earth. Varric followed, jaw tight but eyes steady. If this darkness is coming for all of us, he said, then we defend the galaxy together. Alvian finally nodded, though his form flickered with stress. Very well, the ancient leader declared. The Galactic Council will form an alliance with Earth. Our first united front. The other leaders agreed, some with fear, some with hope, some simply because there was no choice left. A new hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. 7 symbols glowing together. Earth, Varric's Empire, Lyra's Star Union, and 4 others. The first united symbols in the galaxy's history. A council member stepped forward. What is our first step? Orion faced them with steady confidence. We begin with information, he said. We will share everything humanity has recorded about the shadow. Its patterns, its movements, its disruptions, and the parts we still do not understand. Alvian lifted his hand. And what do you still not understand? Orion hesitated. There it was, the one question he hoped they would not ask. Finally, he spoke in a low voice. The shadow does not move randomly. It travels with purpose. It selects targets. It studies. He paused. Something from our world, something ancient, caught its attention, and it has been searching ever since. A cold chill moved through every leader. What thing? Lyra whispered. Orion met her eyes. The signal you saw was not the first humans ever sent, he said. It was only the first one you detected. What are you saying? Varric asked. Orion took a slow breath. Thousands of years ago, long before peace rose on Earth, humans activated a device. A warning beacon. Something we believed would keep the galaxy safe. He looked at the council. But that device was not ours. Silence. Heavy, crushing silence. What do you mean, not yours? Alvian asked slowly. Orion's voice grew quiet. It came from a civilization older than any of us. A civilization the shadow erased long before humans were born. The leaders stiffened. And the device? Lyra asked. Orion stepped back. It is waking up again. The chamber lights flickered. A deep rumble echoed through the station. Everyone turned toward the giant window overlooking space. A bright, pulsing wave was spreading across the stars, coming from the direction of Earth. A sound followed. A deep, ancient sound. Not human. Not alien. Not machine. Something older. Lyra's eyes widened with fear. What is that? Orion whispered. The beacon. The rumble grew louder. It just turned itself on. The screen cut to black.